So if I hit unmute, they can hear me? Yeah. All right. And then when I want to record it, how do I record it?
That's why I pressed.
Okay. Okay. So I think I got this Zoom thing down, or at least I think I do. But anyway, so we're going to start over again. It's been a few weeks since we did it, and we have someone new who's coming today, Bill Sweeney, who's joining the office. He actually has a listing coming up in North Liberties, so it works out well. You can jump right in. That's why I'm starting back over. And I try to type this little sheet up here for us to have and look at, because this is basically what I spoke about last week. I want to talk, and this is just going to be on the screen. So basically, we all need to be prepared for a listing appointment, and everyone has a real estate license, and we need to be able to sell houses and be confident. So when someone contacts us to sell a house, what do we do? Say, I don't know, I got to talk to my broker. No. So you got to be confident. And when someone contacts you to sell a house, they already know that you're new, because they know you for the most part, but they're contacting you because they believe in you. No one's going to sell their house for $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 or more if they don't believe in you. So that's number one. So they got to believe in you. And if they believe in you, then they will contact you. But when they do, you got to have confidence. If you don't have confidence, then it's going to be awkward, and they might feel like they're making a wrong decision. So everyone in the beginning is going to need help. And that's where, neighborhood real estate comes in, myself or Frank or, Mike, whoever's around to help you guys that are overseeing you. So, hey, someone calls you, I want to sell my house. Great. You got to be confident, and you got to start asking questions. So I put up this little sheet. I'll go over it, and then I'll probably add to it over the weeks and things like that. Someone calls you, sells a house. You got to ask questions with confidence. Again, there's different questions you can ask based on, but start with what's the address, where is it located, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, is there any upgrades, finished basement, does it have a big backyard, garage, parking, things that we all would like to know about the house. Take down some notes. Keep in mind that some people think their homes are nicer than they are. Other people think that their house is worse than it is. I know my mom used to say, oh, the house is a mess, and then people come over and it don't really look messy. Other people's houses are a mess and they don't think it looks like it's a mess. So it just depends on who the person is. So ask questions. Okay. Once you have your questions answered and you have them written down, you're going to tell the person, your potential client, your family, friend, that you're going to talk with your coworkers, and they're going to perform some searches. You're going to send them some emails. You'll get back to them within a day. Okay. Then in theory, you should be excited that someone contacted you to sell a house. Obviously, if you have questions, you can call me and we can deal with it. But next thing you should do, in theories, if you're in a position like home or if you're near your computer, next thing you should do is jump right on the MLS. Log on the MLS. You already have the address of the property. Search the address. Okay, I'm going to make up an address. Say it's 800 Cornwall Street. I actually grew up on that block when I was a kid. So you would search 700-999 Cornwall Street. Why? You want to do the subject block always, and it's always good to go one block up and one block down, because that's a great snapshot of what's going on the block. Now, some neighborhoods, one block up and one block down could be a completely different style house. One side of the street could be 2 bedrooms, the other side could be 3 bedrooms. There's plenty of blocks like that in Port Richmond and Kensington and things like that. But the reason why you do one block up, one block down, and a subject block is, my opinion, because all homeowners who want to sell their house pretty much already know what houses sold in our block recently. So we, as salespersons, we need to be educated. We need to know that a house sold in that block recently, or better yet, we need to know that a house didn't sell in that block recently, by either it's still up for sale and it's not selling, or maybe it was withdrawn from the market because it was on the market for so long and they couldn't sell it, or it expired after 6 months, or it's temporarily off the market. Whatever it is, we need a full snapshot of the block. Because when you go and speak to that person again, or you see them in person and they say, hey, what about Susie's house 5 doors away? What do you know about that? And you don't know about that, that's not good. You need to know, oh yeah, Susie's house was up for sale for 172 days. It didn't sell. The original price was $399. They dropped it a couple of times. When they took off the market, it was $350, and it had a finished basement, whatever. Like, you need to talk with confidence, like you know that. When you do, then your client's going to have confidence in you. Like, wow, they did their homework. And that's what most of this is. Most of this is doing your homework and being prepared. If you do your homework and you're prepared, then to be honest with you, that's half the battle, because them contacting you is the other half. Okay. And once they contact you, this is the other half. Then you should pretty much get it after this. Okay. So once you talk to them, you get all the information. You go on the MLS, 1 block up, 1 block down, but you search for everything. Just click all, available, pending, under contract, sold, withdrawn, temporary off the market, expired, everything. I mean, we're not interested in rentals though. So everything except rentals, and obviously commercial, if there's any on the block. All right. So this will give you a snapshot of everything. Okay. And then you can email that to yourself, and then later you forward it to the seller when you clean it up, and forward it to the seller, and we'll talk about that later. After you do that first search of the subject block, one block up, 1 block down, then you do a MLS search for general in the area, for houses that sold. Now, I'm not big on using solds for comps, whereas that's what the appraisers do. The appraisers go and they look at solds and what's sold over the past few months, and then they go and appraise the property based on that. But I don't like that. Depending on who's trained you or whatnot. In certain markets, I think call for that. If the market's flat, or if it's just been the same market for the last 6 or so months, then absolutely use comps. What sold 6 months ago is a good reflection of what's going on in the marketplace today. But in today's market, it's not the case. Think about it. 6 months ago, what was it, Bill? 6 months ago, what was going on 6 months ago? It was September. It was like the middle of the pandemic. No one knew what was going on, right? So houses really weren't going up for sale. If they were, was anyone looking at them? Was anyone buying them? I'm sure some sold here and there. We were always selling houses, but you can't go by that because there was fear in people, the economy. So it's a good sale. Okay, hey, these houses did sell 6 months ago, but if you go and price that house, so your neighbor's house sold 6 months ago for X, we're going to go price your house for the same. Is that cool? I bet you in today's market, that house, like typical realtor on Facebook will say, I sold this house in 8 hours with 12 offers over asking price. Yeah, it's because you used a comp. You don't go off of comps that sold on the block recently in today's market. That's my opinion. Recently, if it's like 30 days ago, but then even if it's 30 days ago, think about that. Today's what St. Patty's Day, I said today's like the 21st. So if it sold 30 days ago, it sold February 21st. But guess what? That ain't when it went on a contract. It went on a contract around Christmas time. So what was the market around Christmas time? Different than it is right now. So that's why I personally don't like using solds as comparables. It's good to get an idea of what's going on, but I feel as if that's not what should be used to help price the property. Okay, again, that's just my opinion. So after you perform that search for everything that's everything that's in the area, I lost my train of thought here. Then we pretty much know what's going on. All right, so they're the solds. All right, so now the next search is you want to do for what's under contract and pending. Okay, so that, in my opinion, is the true snapshot of the marketplace. Okay, when homes are under contract right now, what's that mean? That means that That's the current marketplace. That's what's going on right now. It's not what was going on in September or Christmas time or Valentine's Day. It's what's going on right now. Someone within the last 3 weeks looked at that house, saw it, made an offer on it. So what's under contract and what's pending is, in my opinion, a true snapshot of the marketplace. Okay. Now you can look into it a little bit, days on the market, DOM. The shorter that is, meaning if it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days on the market, there's a good chance that the property sold for the price that they're asking or more than what they're asking. Okay. If something's under contract and it says days on market 32 days, then that tells me that it was sitting on the market for 32 days and that no one was really interested in it. And now it's under contract. Great. But to me, they definitely didn't get over the asking price. They could have got the asking price still because they're holding firm. But if it was sold in 2 days, then I would be like, well, they probably got over the asking price, right? Makes sense a little bit. So when you're looking at the pendings and the active with contracts, anything that's pending or under contract, in my opinion, and under like 7 or 5 days or something like that, then either A, they got the price they were looking for, or they got more. And there's a good chance there was multiple offers on that property as well. So same thing, if that, some of those actives, what's up, Frank? What's up, buddy? Yeah, it's cool. And that's Bill Sweeney. Bill, you know Bill, right? Yeah. He told me a story about down the shore with his Jackie or something, was teaching or something. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about that, but it's what happens when we're zooming. It's why I don't like doing it. But so when days on the market for properties that are under contract, when they're like 15, 20, 30 days, I mean, again, there's a good chance that it's sold for under the asking price or maybe the asking price, but definitely not more. I mean, what's the chances of getting multiple offers 32 days in the market? I mean, it happens, but it's probably not. So that's the real snapshot. Okay. What's under contract is the real deal. Okay. And then you look at the pictures, you take some notes, and then keep in mind, we didn't even see this house yet. You know, this is the research that we're doing just from hanging up the phone, talking to our potential client. We're just checking out the block. We're checking everything that's sold in the area. We're checking everything that's under contract in the area. We're doing our homework. Okay. Then after that, you do one more search and you search the same criteria, same area. And it's pretty easy because once you put the criteria in your MLS, and sometimes you draw on a map. I like drawing lines on the map. I don't like doing searches for the whole zip codes. I like drawing a 5 square block radius around the property. And to me, that gives a true snapshot of what's sold. I mean, 19134 is a big zip code. You got Harrogate, Kensington, Port Richmond. You can't go by stuff that's in those neighborhoods when you're trying to comp out something on Belgrade Street in Port Richmond. So if you draw, you know, lines on the map, you know, say 4 or 5 blocks in each direction, or a square around it, or a circle, a radius, a half-mile radius, you're better. But half-mile radius in Port Richmond might take into Kensington, and the comps are going to be swayed a little bit. So I like to personally draw lines. So for instance, in Port Richmond, if I'm doing a house on Belgrade Street, I don't care about Tulip Street or Memphis Street or Agate or Witt or Janney. I don't care about them streets. To me, it's a totally different neighborhood. I know it's both Port Richmond, same zip code. But once you cross Aramingo Ave, it's a whole different price zone, price range, in my opinion. So drawing lines, knowing your marketplace is key. You know, if you don't know your marketplace, then you can draw lines and then, you know, one block changes the zip code and now you're in North Philly and the prices are down. So you really need to know the area. Okay, so when you perform the search for homes that are available, I like to describe these as homes that it's going to be our future competition once the house goes in the market. But I like to say they're homes that people aren't buying. People aren't buying these ones, and instead they're buying the ones that you just searched before that are under contract and pending, assuming that these are on the market, you know, at the same time. So if a house that we're looking at is available for 3 or 4 or 5 days, there's a good chance that no one saw it before they put the other ones under contract. So if you're looking at homes that are available and they're like 7 or 10 days on the market or less, then that don't mean they're overpriced. It don't mean that people pass them up. But typically, if it's 30 days or longer, there's a good chance that everyone saw that house, passed up on it, and bought one of the other ones that were under contract. So again, if the house is on the market for 5, 6, 7 days, that might not be the case, okay? Unless a couple of houses just got put under contract in the last couple of days, you know? So I like to say the homes that are available is our competition, but it's also what people are not buying. So I like to use them as our comps, okay? I like to use the pendings and actives as comps along with the actives. So if something's pending and we're under contract in 7 days or less, and you look at the pictures and you know it's nice, and you got to say, how many offers do they have? I'm sure it's sold for higher. So that's, and then when you go look at the houses that are available, it's like, well, no wonder why these are available, because the ones that are pending last week looks a lot nicer and it's the same price. And you just use your judgment, your common sense. Okay. There's more to it, but in theory, I price the properties off of what's available in today's market. I didn't do that last year or the year before, probably not going to do that next year or the year after, but everything has a time and place. You know, stocks are worth today, they weren't worth tomorrow, and they won't be worth next month. So that's how I do in a hot market, because the market's changing, and especially in this market, there's a lack of inventory, and there's a lot of money floating around from people refinancing houses, selling houses. So people are overpaying, you know, for property. So the market's strange. So if there's a bunch of houses that are up for sale and they're at a certain price and they're not selling, and they're similar to yours in regards to square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms, and it sort of looks the same, well then why are you going to price it at that price, right? I mean, if it looks the same, then obviously it's not going to sell at that price, okay? So you got to make your adjustments, all right? And if your house is obviously nicer than it, well then yeah, you can probably even ask more than what they're asking, because again, the market's strange, because just because the house isn't selling at a certain price doesn't mean it's not worth that, all right? And today, it just seems like people want the finished product. They just want the finished product. So, you know, my house, I'm just making up, my house might not be finished, but I know it's worth 200,000, let's just say, and I put it on the market for 190. I know it's worth more, but no one's buying it. That don't mean it's not worth 200. It just means that the buyers want, they don't want to do the work, you know. So that same house that's, you know, across the street from mine, that's 350, and it's like, well, that only needs $40,000 worth of work, and it's 110,000 more than mine. Well, someone's going to buy that, you know. So people want the finished product in today's market. Okay, mainly I think because a lot of the buyers are younger, and a lot of these millennial buyers don't like doing work. They don't have the means to do it. They're not from around here. Like we can just hire a plumber or a painter or someone we know to go in and sheetrock a wall and paint it and do things. Most of these new home buyers don't have access to that. Most of them aren't handy. Most of them are college educated, and most of them want what they want, and they just want to buy something and move right into it. So it's an art. So, you know, listing a home, it's more or less, it's an art. You know, you got to know the market. Each house is different. Each neighborhood's different. Everything's different about it. All right. So this, in essence, is a quick, you know, snapshot on how to prepare for a listing. After you do all these emails of the subject block, 1, 2, you're doing for sales, 3, you're doing for pendings and under contract, and 4, you're doing for actives. You should know a lot about the property. This is before you even seen it, okay? But then we got to send some emails to our client, and you typically send your client the subject block, okay? Because that covers everything that's sold. And then I would send the ones that are available before I go out and say, hey, 2 quick emails. Hey, I know we have an appointment for tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. However, I just want to send you a couple quick emails. This first one is a snapshot of your block, everything that's sold, your block, one up, one down, everything over the last 12 months. Take a look. Let me know if you have any questions. And then you can say, I'm going to send you another email in a few minutes. And then when you send the other email, it's, hey, this is everything that's available in the neighborhood. This is what would be our competition. Keep in mind, I don't know what your house looks like. I just know what you told me, but you know what your house looks like. Take a look at these pictures, read the description, and based on what these houses are asking, figure out honestly what you think your house would be worth, right? And then I'll see you tomorrow at 5:30. All right, that's pretty much it. And then there's more, but then when you go there tomorrow at 5:30, he or she should be reasonable, right? If they're not reasonable, then most of this don't even matter, right? This is if it's a reasonable seller. If it's someone who's reasonable, like, oh yeah, those houses are nicer than mine. Hey, we can't ask for that. They're not selling. So if they're reasonable, then our job's easier. Unfortunately, most people aren't that reasonable. And when it comes to real estate, this is people's largest asset. So they're not easy to give it up and sell it for, so they might fight and think that it's worth more than what it is. All right. And then you're going to go out there and make that appointment the next day. When you go out there, if you need help, which you will for your first couple, I'll go with you. Frank will go with you. Mike will go with you. Whoever's working with you will go with you. You'll prepare before you go out. We have folders. We have some printouts to stick in, to prepare for it. And then we go out and we help secure the listing. Typically how I like to do it is I like to meet the agent there. So I would like to meet you guys there and say, okay, the appointment's at 5:30. Great. You be there at 5:25 and then I'll show up at like 5:35 because I want you to say hello to the homeowner, warm them up and say, okay, my broker's coming. He's going to be here in 5 or 10 minutes and he's just going to walk through the house. He's going to snap some photos. He's going to ask some questions and then he's going to leave. He's going to be in and out in about 10 minutes. That's because it's not my client. I mean, it is our client, but it's your client, it's your friend, it's your aunt, it's your, coworker, whatever. So I'm in and out and then you stay and you talk and you bullshit. I don't have the hour and a half to, to take and sit in an appointment, just to small talk, So basically I come in and I'm in and out, introduce myself, ask some questions, take some photos and say, okay, I'm going to be on my way. Mackenzie and I, or Bill and I, or Lori and I will get together tonight or tomorrow. We'll be back to you within 24 hours and we'll let you know what we think about the price. And they're usually good with that because they know you're new, and they know that your broker just came in here and looked at it. If the broker didn't come in, it's like, well, how do they know? Yeah, how he couldn't even come out to the house, or how do we know? And so just
Extra ratio.
Yeah, just in and out. Okay, that's the way I like doing it. And then you can talk as long as you want, but then you should limit your time there too, because your time's valuable and then you don't know a whole lot. You can't talk about a whole lot. You don't want to get put in a trap, get some questions answered. You can't, ask some questions you can't answer. So you want to get in and out as well. All right, so this basically is where we're going to stop. I'm just going to talk for a couple minutes. So again, this was how you prepare for the appointment. So now for all of you, when we hang up, we're going to do this here with a property that Bill is potentially going to list. But I want all of you, if you feel like it on your time, to do the same thing, but do it for your house. Okay, the house that you own and live in, or if not, whoever you live with. Do all these steps for that. Make pretend you want to sell your house, or your mom wants to sell her house. What are you going to do? Well, this is what you do right here. Okay, and if you have any questions on this, you let me know and we can go over it. And then once you think you have everything together, you want to call me, you want to get together with me, we can go over everything and we can finalize it. But this is basically a snapshot. Okay, so if there's any questions, let me know. If not, good luck. And I'm going to stop it here. What do I do?
I have a question real quick.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I wrote it in the chat. Is there any way to get this document that you printed up?
Yeah.
Can you email that?
Yeah, that's so now I got Mackenzie's help. So now we know how to video it. So I can send out she said she did it. She tried it for like 2 minutes today or 30 seconds. She recorded something and she said she knows how. Anyway, so yeah, I plan on sending out this little video and then this I have in a PDF. And then when I send out that email, I'm going to attach this PDF as well. So everyone has something tangible to look at and draw pictures on and take notes.
Great, perfect, thank you.
Is that cool?
Yep, great.
Anyone else have any questions about anything real quick? I don't know if there's anyone else here, but if not, that's it. If you need anything, let me know. Thank you. And then we're heading to stop it.